first video on my channel. So today I did a simple look that I usually do when I'm going out, running errands or anything like that. Just a little bit on the lids and not too much on the face. And it's probably one of my favorite looks, and it's very easy to do. So yeah, if you want to see how I did it, keep on watching. Also, all of the products that I've used I will put in the description. So yeah, starting off with a fresh washed face like I do before every makeup look, just patting the water off. After my face is dry, I add moisturizer all over, make sure it's rubbed in really well, and I also make sure to moisturize down my neck. Moving on to primer, this is the Professional primer, which is great for people who have large pores like me, and I'm going to rub that all over. Moving on to my eyebrows, that's the first thing that I always do. I do use a powder, so it does get kind of messy at times, and I spoolied up my eyebrows to make sure I can get a good defined arch underneath, and as I'm doing the bottom, I will drag the product upward to fill in the brow completely. Moving on to the other side, doing the same exact thing. I'm arching the bottom and filling in the brow. I do use quite a bit of product, but that's okay, that's why there's concealer. Now I'm going to spoolie the eyebrows downwards, which is going to help me create a good defined arch on top, which I prefer. Then I'm going to move on to fill in the front of my brow, starting with the bottom and fading it upwards. Now I did go ahead and do my other brow off camera. They do look a little crazy right now, but that's okay. We're going to blend them out and they're going to look great. Moving on to concealer, I am using Creamy Beige by LA Girl. I'm just going to define them a little bit better because they do get a little out of hand when I do them with the powder. I do just want to mention, if you do feel comfortable using a lot of product like I do, don't worry about it because you can always clean it up with concealer. Moving on to the top of the brow, which is pretty difficult to do when working with a powder because the concealer does take off so much product, but that's okay. So I'm going to continue to blend that in, and then I actually did my other brow off camera. So like I said, it does take off a lot of product, so I always go back in and fill in sparse areas. Just make sure that concealer is all the way blended in, and then we're going to move on to a clear brow gel, which is just going to help them last all day, especially because they are a powder. So I do add quite a bit. Then we're going to prime our lids with some Urban Decay Primer Potion, and make sure that the product is warmed up before you put it on your eyelids. After you blend it out, make sure to set it with a powder. It does work better. I'm going to be using both of these palettes today. I'm just going to highlight my brow bone, and I always start off with that. Then you got to dance a little, that's always a must, and then I'm going to move on and grab a transition shade and pop that into the creases on both sides. I am blending with a couple of different colors as my transition shade, but I didn't like the way the color actually turned out, so I went ahead and put a more warm tone into my crease as well. The color came out a little too pigmented, so I went ahead and grabbed a clean blending brush and blended that out a little bit better. Moving on to the lids, on an everyday occasion I do tend to go for more of a shiny product. I just like the way it looks on my eyes. And I always make sure to bring it down into the inner corners to brighten up my eyes. Now I'm taking a darker brown, and I'm going to define my crease a little bit better because it kind of got lost within all those colors. Once again, I'm going to take that blending brush and blend because I do not want a dark eye. After blending that out, I'm going to go back into the shimmery shade and put a little bit more on my brow bone and just blend that out one last time. Moving on to the face, my favorite part, I'm going to start off with a flat top brush to stipple that foundation in and then actually rub it into my face. With this foundation, I figured out this method works really well. The brush helps to get into all of those fine lines on your face, and it also doesn't pick up as much product as a beauty blender. And as I'm putting my foundation on, I am cleaning up my eyeshadow a little bit before adding concealer.
Moving on to the Beauty Blender, this is just going to help press the product in and make it look flawless. Get rid of any streaks the brush may have made and also fill in any spots that it missed. I'm going to highlight with that same concealer I used earlier for my brows and the normal spots under the eyes, above the lip, nose, chin, forehead. I am going to contour with a very light contour since I'm not doing anything extravagant today. I'm trying to go for more of a natural look, and this works great for that. So I'm going to be blending out my contour with a brush that I found, which I love. I prefer to blend my contour out with this brush over a beauty blender. Now I'm just blending out that concealer. I do make sure that when I blend the concealer under my eyes, not to go too far out because I do have a wide face and we want to make it up here slimmer. And as I'm doing this, I'm also cleaning up my eyeshadow again, but this time a little bit better. This is such a tricky area to get when you have powder product on your brows, but just make sure to take your time. Now it's time to bake. I do a little bit of a different method when I bake. I tap the product and then I also drag it underneath my eyes because my eyes crease really bad. And I'm just gonna add it everywhere, and actually I added a little bit too much powder here and it fell all over me. So while I let that sit, I'm gonna add some contour to my face. Make sure you drag it down your neck or you look crazy. And after that, I'm gonna add some more powder to my face to sharpen up that cheekbone a little bit more. Once I have all that powder on, I do let it sit for about 5 minutes depending on how much I want it to pop. And I do add a little bit of extra powder to my T-zone because I do tend to get very oily. Then we're going to move on and use a smaller brush to contour my nose. So that's baked for long enough. We're going to take a big powder brush and fluff it all away. Blush the face now. I usually use 2 different blushes. I don't know, I'm weird. I like the pink tone, but I also love the orange tones on my skin color. Time for highlighter. I love this one. I actually forgot that I had it, but there's 2 different brushes I like to use, a small fan brush and also a Sephora brush. Ooh, that obviously has tons of product left in it. So this one actually holds a little bit more product than the fan brush. If you're looking for more of a subtle highlight, I definitely go for the fan brush over this one. Then I'm going to take an old eyeshadow brush that I have that I like to highlight my nose with. It just works a little bit better. It's a little smaller. And it's great for above the eyebrow and above the lip. It holds so much product in it. And then whatever excess product I have left will go on my chin and my forehead. I don't like to put much there because I do tend to get oily. Moving on to my lips, I'm using Dusty Rose, which is my favorite color. It's such a pretty pink nude. Whatever I'm wearing or any time of the day, I will put it on. I did clean it up with a little bit of concealer off camera, and I'm just making sure it's blended in around my lips. Setting spray, this is my favorite part. It makes you feel so good. And then we're gonna head into mascara. Since I'm doing a simple look, I'm just gonna take a coat of this on each of my eyes and not apply any falsies or anything. Okay, so anyone who has long eyelashes knows that the mascara gets all over the place. So a trick is let it dry, and after you let it dry, grab a Q-tip and it comes right off. Thank you so much for watching my first video on my channel. Make sure to like, subscribe, and comment. Follow me on my social medias, and I'll see you in my next video.